Okay, for this next group of equations, it says find the exact value of each variable. These incorporate both 45, 45, 90 and 30, 60, 90 triangles. So we'll be using those formulas. I think I can squeeze them in right here. So for a 45, 45, 90, we learned that the hypotenuse equals the leg times the square root of 2. And then for a 30, 60, 90, we learned that the hypotenuse equals the short leg times 2, and the long leg equals the short leg times the square root of 3. We had a couple other equations that we learned that can be helpful, but you don't have to know them. We learned the leg is 1/2 the hypotenuse times the square root of 2. And over here, we learned that the short leg is 1/3 the long leg times the square root of 3. But we'll stick with just the block equations for now. So in number 30, find the exact value of each variable. All right, well, all we know here, well, we know a few angle measures, but we have this length is 15. That's the only length we have. We can know this is a 45 by looking at this triangle here. And then we also know the other triangle kind of on top, this is going to be 30. And so since we're dealing with this 15, and that's in the 30, 60, 90 triangle, we'll be trying to find those things. So that's the short leg. So the equations we know about a 30, 60, 90. So we're starting with the 30, 60, 90. So we're starting with these formulas. We know that if we have the short leg, we can find the other two pretty easily. We know the hypotenuse, which is b, equals the short leg, which is 15, times 2. So b is 30 centimeters. And then we can also find a, because a is the long leg. Maybe you want to label these things right away. That's the b was the hypotenuse. So the long leg equals the short leg times the square root of 3. I wrote 2. That's not 2, it's 15. So 15 times the square root of 3, and that's in centimeters. There's not really any simplifying we can do there. 15 times the square root of 3 centimeters. So now we have these things, and I'm going to actually write b in here. B is 30, because now that we have b, we now have part of this 45, 45, 90. We have the hypotenuse of the 45, 45, 90. And so now we can use this equation. We know the hypotenuse of the 45, 45, 90 is 30. So again, I'm going to use this pink highlighted formula. The hypotenuse is 30, and that is equal to a leg, which is c, times the square root of 2. Well, to solve this, we divide both sides by the square root of 2. And so we get c equals 30 over the square root of 2. And then we should simplify it. All we do is multiply by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2. That's 30 root 2. On top, in the denominator, the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2. And we can actually reduce, because 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 30 15 times, and our answer is 15 times the square root of 2 meters. And I just noticed I named these incorrect up here. These two should have been in meters. Did you catch that? All right, number 31, similar concept in that you have a 45, 45, 90 here. So we know this is a 45, and over on the other side, we know this is 30. We are starting with the fact that we know this is 6 feet. So we're over here on the longer leg of the 30, 60, 90. So number 30, we cannot write in highlighter. That won't work. So number 30, we know the longer leg, and so we have to use this formula to help us find the short leg. So long leg is 6 equals the short leg, which is x times the square root of 3. Divide both sides by the square root of 3. We get x equals 6 over the square root of 3. We are not supposed to leave a radical in the denominator, so we multiply by root 3 over root 3. We have x equals 6 root 3 over root 3 times root 3 is 3. And then these reduce to 2. And so x equals 2 times the square root of 3. Which is helpful because it's part of the 45, 45, 90 triangle as well. However, let's go ahead and finish and find y. Well, y is the hypotenuse in the 30, 60, 90. It's the hypotenuse. So now we're going to use this formula. And the hypotenuse is simply equal to the shorter leg, which is 2 root 3. That's what we just found, times root 3. And so this ends up, root 3 times root 3 is 3. 2 times 3, so y is 6. That's not right. Let's see here. It seems like we made a mistake. So long leg equals the shorter leg times the square root of 3. Divide both sides by root 3. 6 root 3. Oh, I used the wrong formula up here. So I'm trying to find the hypotenuse. I said I was using this formula, but hypotenuse is shorter leg times 2. So this was wrong. This was supposed to be a 2. So let's wipe that out. And we're going to put a 2 there. So times 2. And so that is 4 times the square root of 3. And that is in feet, which means this was in feet. I should be putting my labels. And then lastly, we want to find z. Well, z is the hypotenuse of the 45, 45, 90. So in a 45, 45, 90, the hypotenuse equals a leg times the square root of 2. We know a leg is 2 times the square root of 3 times the square root of 2. And so the hypotenuse over there, which is letter z, let's put that in there, z. So z equals 2 times the square root of 6 feet.